It's my birthday, it's my birthday, I'ma spend my money. It's my birthday, it's my birthday, I'ma spend my money. It's my birthday, I'ma live my fantasy. It's my birthday, I'ma live my fantasy.
Hey everybody, it's Felisa, and I'm so late. I had every intention of doing a video a day in May, and y'all know I get off target real quick and real fast because, yeah, my life. And so as the intro suggested, my birthday was a couple of days ago, and I've just been so overwhelmed by the love, and I mean, just turn another year older. I'm 49 and I'm so just grateful to be here and grateful to have another year. And so, yeah, I got off target, y'all, even though, you know, I had like a whole week. So it's my hope to upload a few videos over the course of the next week. And hopefully I will have caught up by sometime next week with a AVADIM video a day in May. And be on track, because I do enjoy challenging myself with getting content out every day because it's not always easy. So shout out to the YouTubers who are able to do that on a daily basis. Y'all the real MVP. Anyway, so today's vlog is, I like to think of it as like a follow-up to my silent treatment and ghosting vlog that I did a couple of years ago. And this is kind of like on the opposite side of the spectrum, right? So like ghosting and the silent treatment is pretty much, you know, negative behavior based. And so, you know, they either don't talk to you and they're punishing you that way and trying to shape your behavior, or they just get gone. And so they leave you to wonder exactly what happened. And, you know, you just kind of are sitting in all of this, you know, myriad of emotion. Well, love bombing is something on a completely different side. It's like the flip side, if you will. And so love bombing is really like a showering of attention. And, you know, they start off really romantic. And, you know, maybe there's somebody that's texting you, you know, good morning, beautiful. And, you know, you are my sun and you are my moon and you are my stars and I can't live without you. And they're doing all these romantic things and sending you flowers, child, and, you know, basically throwing out rose petals everywhere you walk, like Coming to America, and, you know, just showering you with all kinds of attention and just superfluous attention. So it's just like over the top. So they want to see you all the time, just be in your space and drink in your beauty. And so they're doing all of these things, and then the way that they're doing it, or the reason that they're doing it, is for isolating purposes. Okay, so they will use that and withhold that when you do something that displeases them. So let's say you know, they've paid all this attention to you and you've had all these dates and, you know, y'all think that y'all just really headed off to the altar, and you probably are. And then, you know, your girlfriend or colleagues or something said, you know, they say, hey, let's go out after work. Let's go to dinner or something like that. And so you call your boyfriend, or in some cases your girlfriend, and you say, hey, I'm going to go out with the group after work. I'll see you later. Well, I mean, clutch my pearls. So it's like, no, you can't go out and do that. Why would you do that? Like, you're supposed to spend all your time with me, and you're supposed to, you know, do this and the third. And I can't believe that you're so selfish that you didn't even call me and ask me if I wanted to do something. Maybe I had something planned. Maybe I wanted to see you. Don't I come first? Don't I matter? Don't you have any kind of thought about how I feel? And you sitting there like, oh, okay then. A lot of times people will misinterpret that as, oh my God, they really love me. They really, like, they're going over the top and they're really showing me that they love me. Child, let me tell you, run. That is not love. That is control and borderline obsession. If you can't be away from your significant other or away from the relationship, for an hour, maybe 2 hours to have some kind of meaningful dialogue with someone else. You're not cheating. You're not, an emotional affair. You're coming back. So why is this reaction so over the top? You have to ask yourself those kinds of questions. And that's not necessarily the way that love is demonstrated. Now, I will always say that there are, different things for different people, and they exhibit things in different ways. And just because, someone responds in that way does not always mean that they're love bombing you, or that, this is something particularly malicious or malodorous. But it should be a red flag for you. It should be, something that makes you go, and to internalize that and accept that as, this is appropriate behavior, or this is appropriate responses for this kind of scenario or this kind of situation. You'd have to ask yourself what you're setting yourself up for further on down the line. Because let me tell you, a lot of women and, a lot of men, I'm sure, but of course I always speak for the women because that's my experience. I have far more experience being a woman than I ever will be being a man. So I speak from our perspective, but it's not to isolate the feelings and experiences of men. I just can't speak to it from a first person point of view. I hope y'all understand. But anyway, so, it's very easy to get on a slippery slope of isolation and, kind of hoarding time and hoarding, your ability to be able to even have interactions that are meaningful outside of the context of this relationship. And what they will do is use that love and affection as part carrot, and it's part punishment, because they withhold it. And so they make you feel as though, this is part of the love process, that this is part of, the way that we demonstrate love in the context of this relationship. And it becomes very normal. It's so easy to accept the abnormal as normal after you've been exposed to it for a continued and sustained amount of time. Now, I have debates all the time with my significant other and with, people in my life, because I'm very opinionated, if you cannot tell. However, we talk all the time about the idea of the word normal and what normal means. And, I concede that normal is kind of one of those tricky kinds of terms that are not, that it eludes me a lot of times, because in the context of what you do within a certain relationship or within a certain family or the dynamics in the house, that is normal for you. It may be normal for your family to wash clothes and then, they hang out in the washing machine for a couple of days before you put them in the dryer. That's normal for you. For me, I'd be like, why your clothes still in the washing machine? And now they're going to be all mildewed and we have to wash them again and they smell funny. Like, get that stuff out of there. So that is normal for me. And a large part of our acceptance of normalcy has to do with our comfortability level. And, certain things make me uncomfortable. So I feel that it's abnormal. But then there's the greater context of normal, right? There are certain things that are kind of like rules of decorum. It is not normal to be in a movie theater and yell fire. There's a reason that no one does that, aside from the fact that you will be arrested for inciting a riot. The reason that you don't do that is because you don't instill panic and fear and pandemonium in people for kicks and giggles. You don't frighten people who are just out wanting to see The Avengers, which was an excellent movie. If I were able to, I would do an entire video just on Thanos alone, but whatever. Anyway, I digress. The point is, that's not normal. It's not normal because we as society has said, yeah, don't be doing stuff like that. That we don't like that. Don't do that. And so we've written laws to say that that's not what you do. That's not how you behave yourself. So in the context of normal, we know that there's, universally accepted, rules of behavior, decorum, the way that we govern ourselves, what we do as far as interaction with other human beings. And then there's the context of your relationship, your house, your personal space that you operate maybe differently from someone else, excuse me. But I always want to stress that even within that defined set of whatever for you and for your household and for your family and for your life, please do not take certain behaviors that are disruptive and oppressive and isolating and really are kind of like on that slippery slope of abuse, whether it's emotional abuse, spiritual abuse, or really heading down physical abuse, because when people cannot control and manipulate you through words and through behaviors, then they oftentimes will turn to physical kinds of things. And it may not necessarily be, blatant hitting or blatant violence, but, posturing themselves in such a way where it's threatening or intimidating or physically preventing you from being able to leave, or, taking your keys, or, pinch, whatever those kinds of things are. And I don't really want to get into a whole lot of descriptors, because then we get into a debate about what abuse is and is not. Keep your hands to yourself. Seriously. Keep your hands to yourself. You put your hands on somebody else in a fit of anger or outrage or whatever other emotion you seem to be suffering from at the time, and that's a form of abuse. It's a form of a physical abuse, and then there's the emotional abuse that falls into that. So when it comes to love bombing, you have to be very clear about the behavior and how it feels to you. And if it feels oppressive, if it feels like, you're being manipulated into behavior that you otherwise would not necessarily follow, or behavior that does not make you feel good, only to keep this person happy and to keep them from withholding their affection and withholding their love from you, then you really need to sit down and you need to think about that very carefully, because you probably are on a slippery slope and you're not going to like where it ends up. Anybody else heard about love bombing, and have you had it done to you? I'd love to chop it up with you. Leave a comment below. As always, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Share it if you found it helpful, and I will catch y'all later on.